Hi, Jane Harling here, convertingproperty.com, our new name. No longer women property buyers in name, but definitely ethics, but now we're convertingproperty.com. However, today I want to talk to you about when you're doing your appraisals and everything. Everybody always says, got to find out the builder's costs, make sure my scheme's going to work, is my project going to be viable? And absolutely, of course, you have to do that. But there's a whole lot of other costs as well. And one of the major ones that really kills most deals we find if it's not done properly, and certainly if it's not taken into account, is all the finance costs. You see, most of the time when you kind of buy the projects that we do, they're usually empty commercial properties, or they're pretty derelict, run-down residential properties, B&Bs and that kind of stuff. And generally, these properties aren't mortgageable in their own right. So generally, the only way that you can buy them to start off with is by using commercial bridging finance or by working with private investors. And then of course, once you've got the planning permission or maybe done some of the work, you've raised the value quite considerably, and then there's a whole host of other financing options available to you. But I just want to draw your attention to something that many people forget, and that's that when you're looking at these finance costs, sometimes people just take into account the interest rate, and that's not the whole story. So do bear in mind that you need to be looking at the broker fee, the arrangement fee, the valuation fee, with commercial and development finance, the lender's legal fees as well as your own, the exit fees, the actual monthly interest. Can you see how all these different components of the finance costs can actually add up to quite a huge amount? Now just stop and imagine for a moment that you hadn't gone into this carefully and you'd really only looked at the building costs, and you're halfway through your project now and you're suddenly starting to look at what it's actually costing you. Because we see quite often that at this point people think, oh horrors, I'm not going to make any profit. In fact, by the time I get to the end of the deal, I'm going to have actually made a loss, which of course is absolutely catastrophic and it needn't happen. It's all to do with lots and lots of due diligence and preparation at the outset. And these finance costs are just one small amount of what you need to build in. Now we've actually got we've actually just redone our cost spreadsheet, and we've added a whole load more things. We did have about 100 items, and now we've got quite a few more than that. All things that you really need to just look at and just consider, do I need to include this cost in my appraisal? Is it going to be relevant to the scheme that I'm doing right now? And we certainly say to all of our mentees and students, before you actually go ahead and commit to anything, just go through this whole checklist and just make sure that whether or not any of these items on the list are applicable to your project, and if they are, you make sure you include them, because it's better to think at the outset, you know what, actually this isn't really going to work, and to walk away, than to blindly go into a project and then once you're committed and it's all too late to discover at that point it isn't going to work, because then it could be too late and the results could be catastrophic. So if you'd like a copy of this spreadsheet, and it's just purely a list of all the kind of things other than building costs that you need to consider, whether you're converting to an HMO or perhaps serviced accommodation or a commercial unit, literally any project you do, it's the kind of costs that quite often people don't, they forget about or they don't consider. So message us at the bottom of this post, or send an email to jj@jjharling.com, and we can get you a copy out, because we'd hate you to get halfway through a project and realise to your horror there was something that you forgot about too. Hope you find this useful, and we'll be talking a little bit further on this week about some of the ways that you can do to mitigate this biggest kicker of all, the finance cost, and how you can keep that cost down, because that's often what turns a project into one that is viable to one that isn't. So catch up with us later on in the week and find out what I'm talking about. So Jane Harling, convertingproperty.com.